Show live on location at Hudsons on Whyte Avenue. Tom Gazzola, Matt Kassian holding things down back at EST HQ, and it will be the 31-17-1 Oilers taking on the 28-22-2 Blues. Game number 50 on the schedule for the Orange and Blue. You can text us as always, 780-218-9999, or get at us if you're watching on YouTube via the Nasty Chat. Preempted show. We had to push things back a little bit, making things work. So we'll have an hour-long program for you right here on EST, and we'll probably be joined by Luke Korak from NHL.com to give us the scoop on the St. Louis Blues. We'll get you up to speed on lineups for tonight, as well as game changers with the one and only Matt Kassian. If you're not doing anything, you want to come and hang out, have a beer. I've got some GCs here to give away at Hudsons. I actually have a huge stack of them. They look great. And so come on down, watch the game, and have a good time. And then we'll also hook you up with a $10 GC as we roll on through the night. All right, Luke Korak is ready to rock. Let's just go through the lineups really quickly, and then we'll get to Lou down in St. Louis. For the Oilers tonight, McDavid between Nugent Hopkins and Hyman, Leon Draisaitl centering Evander Kane, and Dylan Holloway. Cass is going to want to talk about that. Ryan McLeod between Warren Foegele and Corey Perry. Then you've got Derek Ryan with Matthias Janmark and Connor Brown. On defense for the Oilers tonight, Nurse with CC, Ekholm with Bouchard, Kulak and Desharnais. Gagne comes out of action. As for the St. Louis Blues, you've got Robert Thomas with Pavel Buchnevich and Jordan Kyrou. Then you got Braden Shen centering Jake Neighbors and Kasperi Kapanen. Then Kevin Hayes between Brandon Saad and Alexei Toropchenko. On the fourth line, Oscar Sundqvist with Nikita Alexandrov and Nathan Walker, the former Oiler. On the blue line for the Blues tonight, Nick paired up with Colton Parayko, Torrey Krug with Matt Kessel, and Mark Scandella with Kalle Rosen. No Justin Falk, IR lower body. Scott Perunovich seems like he's always banged up. Day-to-day lower body issue there. And then Sammy Blais, if that is the lineup that the Blues are going with, not going to go tonight. As for starting goalies, 25-year-old Stuart Skinner getting the nod for the Oil, 24-11-1 on the year, a 249 GAA, 909 save percentage, 2 shutouts in 37 games this season. Skinner versus the Blues, a 1-0-1 record, 192 goals against average, 943 save percentage in 2 appearances versus St. Louis over the course of his career. At the other end of the rink, 30-year-old Jordan Binnington, 18-14-2, a 290 GAA, and a 909 save percentage with 2 shutouts in 37 games this season. Binnington versus the Oil, lifetime 4-2 record, 287 goals against average, 892 save percentage with 1 shutout in 7 appearances versus the Oil. All right, let's go to St. Louis now. Let's bring in Lou Korak, who joins us live on location from Old St. Lou. Lou, good to see you. Nice to hear from you. We used to do this on the old station, and we're bringing it to EST, which is fantastic. Give us a sense of the St. Louis Blues. What are they? I know they have a new coach in Drew Bannister, and things didn't work out with Craig Berube. Give us a sense of what has transpired for this Blues team from inside that locker room.
7-2-0 in their last 9 games, 15-8-1 since Bannister took over, and just really have bought into the concept of the coaching change. Obviously, it's gonna transcend some things. You guys know that as well as anybody up there. I mean, it's certainly transcended a lot with the Edmonton Oilers and going 18-2-0 in the last 20. So things have been different. But to answer your question, who are they? What are they? We're still trying to figure that out. All we can tell you is they're holding down the second wild card spot right now, tied with the LA Kings for the top overall wild card spot. And basically, these are playoff games for them right now. Braden Shen talked about that this morning, and that's how they're going to have to take this, because they really can't afford any nights off. And aside from the 7-1-0 stretch that they went on right before Tuesday, they kind of took the night off against a depleted Toronto team. They can't afford to have too many of those games, and certainly going to have a stiff challenge here tonight.
Lou, I want to ask you about this with this Blues team and the changes and all of that. Is there a sense around the city that this team can actually make a push for the postseason? I know they're sitting in a wild card spot, and I know they've kind of been scrappy and all of that. But is the fan base sticking with them, or is it kind of iffy right now? Because I know that they're not the Blues that we saw win the Cup 5 years ago.
No, they're certainly not, and I think the fans understand that. They're kind of in a wait and see mode. You know, it's a game by game thing. It really is. You know, when they win, they seem to get fired up, and when they lose, they tend to go to, well, here we go again. I think the fan base was used to kind of what happened last year. When you take that dip and you fall out of the top eight, maybe the expectations aren't as high. Right now, I still classify it like Doug Armstrong said at the beginning of the year. At the beginning of the year, he felt like this team was at the 50-yard line. I just don't know what side of the 50-yard line we're going to get to. I still think they're at the 50-yard line if we want to use football terms here. It could go either way, and I think that's why he's going to kind of be in a holding pattern here all the way through the trade deadline. I don't anticipate him adding to bolster this roster because he's not going to do it unless he believes this team – forget about just making the playoffs. Doug Armstrong is all about not only making it, but making a deep run. And I'm not sure that he believes that this team can make a deep run. If anything, I think he still wants to fortify this roster with future assets as opposed to maybe trying to strengthen them for now. If I give him an outside chance of if he's going to do anything, it might be trying to strengthen their middle six forwards because they definitely can use, if they're going to continue to make a push, they definitely can use some extra scoring, some secondary scoring in their lineup.
Lou Korac joining us now from NHL.com, covering the St. Louis Blues. One guy that I know people in Edmonton are familiar with is Jake Neighbors, and it's nice to see his progression. I saw he got in a scrap the other night. I think a lot of people here would be rooting for him. How is he starting to develop? What are you seeing from the young prospect that was a former Oil King, and is he going to be a staple on this team for a long time, in your opinion?
I think that people really appreciate his game. This is I was telling somebody today, this is a blue-collar city, and he plays a blue-collar style of game. He, like you said, he's not afraid to scrap it up. Had the Gordie Howe hat trick on Saturday against the Buffalo Sabres. And I think what he provides this team, something that maybe they haven't seen around here since David Backes was on the roster. He's a guy that's not afraid to go to the net. He's a guy that lives around the blue paint. A lot of his goal scoring is scored from the dots on in. And, you know, he's got, 18 goals? He's tied for the team lead right now. I wouldn't have, if there were odds on that, I probably would have lost that bet right now. I think he even said that himself, that he didn't see him being the goal-scoring threat that he is right now. But he's giving them an element that they haven't seen in a while. And for a guy that started in the bottom six forwards, he was playing a fourth-line role when the season first opened. He's deservedly moved up, and he's playing on that second line with Braden Shen and really complementing the top three that they have really well right now.
Another guy I want to ask you about is Jordan Binnington. I always laugh when he gets into the shenanigans. I think a lot of people get annoyed by it. A lot of people wonder if he could be a Canadian goalie going forward for the national team whenever we get into the Four Nations face-off and who's going to be the Olympic starter in Italy in a couple of years. When he's not getting caught up in the stupid stuff, where's his game at? And can he be a guy that can be relied upon that this team can trust in a potential postseason run if they can get there?
Well, he's shown that he can be that guy. Obviously, you saw the run that they went on back in 2019. Honestly, 2 years ago, when they were probably the one team that gave Colorado as many fits as anybody. And if he doesn't get hurt in that series, there was a decent chance that the Blues could have been faced in the Edmonton Oilers in the Western Conference Final because they were going toe-to-toe in that series, and a big reason why was Jordan Binnington. And he's proved to be a big game goalie. He doesn't get flustered by a lot. He tends to he'll wait out the outside noise of what people think about him, and he's always been a guy that does that. And to be honest with you, I've had a lot of interaction with him. He's a very good guy. He's a very technical guy to talk to. Very easygoing. So what people see on the ice doesn't necessarily translate to maybe the guy that you deal with in the locker room. But I think if he draws consideration for the Four Nations tournament, I think Canada could certainly rely on him because he's shown that he can perform in the big games.
All right, is the Oilers and the Blues from St. Louis, Edmonton kicking off a 3-game road trip. Lou Korak joining us now from NHL.com. The Oilers opened up on the Detroit Red Wings, and people were happy that they started scoring again. Obviously, they went on a killer run that people, believe it or not, Lou, people around here still took shots at it. They said they only beat the teams that were weak and below them in the standings. As soon as they see good teams, it's not good enough when they lost to Vegas and then to the Kings over the weekend, who got smashed by Buffalo right after that. But with the St. Louis team, with how they want to regroup, how they have Drew Bannister at the helm now, what type of game are you anticipating tonight? And I know the Blues probably are going to give the Oilers their best game and toss them a fastball, to use a baseball term, as we're getting set for spring training here.
I think, to be honest with you, for the Blues to have success in this game tonight, they have to make it boring. And I know from a fan perspective, that's probably not the ticket that you paid to see. You came to see the superstars play in this game. They're going to get a chance to see McDavid, Draisaitl, and the whole cast that Edmonton's going to throw at them here tonight. But they're going to have to be sound defensively. And Robert Thomas said it this morning. We can't get into a run-and-gun game with this team. And even though the Blues are a team that tends to thrive in the transition game, I don't think that's a game that they want to play with the Edmonton Oilers here tonight. So they're going to have to play, and I always say this, if you can play if your strength is from goaltending on out, you give yourself a chance to win. They're gonna have to be strong from goaltending on out. So that means they're really going to have to be focused on all the small details on the defensive side of the puck. And I just was looking at the numbers. I don't know how many teams out there that have held Connor McDavid to career average against a certain opponent to less than a point per game against a certain team. He's got 18 points in 21 games against the Blues. Not very many teams can make that claim. So they have made it a point to try to key on Connor McDavid and the high-end guys that they do have. But Edmonton has shown that they have guys that can get the job done, not just on that top line, but their second and third line as well. So it's going to be a tall challenge for here tonight. But again, if the Blues are going to have success, they're going to have to play a defensive style of game, and they're going to have to win one of these 3-2 kind of games. If they try to get into that 8-4, 8-6, whatever game Edmonton won against Detroit the other night, they're not going to have the success here.
Lou, thanks for hopping on tonight. Enjoy the game. I know these two teams tangle at the end of the month. Maybe we'll have to catch up with you again. Appreciate it, my friend.
All right, Tom. Take care.
That's Lou Korak down in St. Louis for NHL.com. Great stuff from him, as always. Nice to have him back on the program as we roll along live on locations. On location at Hudsons Whyte Avenue. I have a ton of GCs to give away. People are starting to come in after work. The sun's going down. It's not bad for a day in mid-February, that's for sure. So come on down. I've got some giveaways to some EST gear if you want to pick some up. All right, Matthew Iwanek at the helm today in for Zach to come. Who are we going to hear from the Oilers locker room first?
Let's hear from the coach, Chris Knobloch.
This morning, it appears as though you're going to keep the lines as the same they were, lines 2 and 3, as you finish the game. Just a thought of giving Dylan Holloway that opportunity to play with Leon and Evander Kane, and how much of this is prefaced on just, maybe integrating speed throughout your top 3 lines?
Well, I think there's so much potential with Dylan, and I think he was starting to gain some traction before I got here, and then the injury, and then there's about 4, 5, maybe 6 weeks that he didn't get to play, and then I think he's been building some traction, doing a lot of good things, and here's a great opportunity for him. But also, it's also a great opportunity for those other two with having a guy with a little more speed and energy to get in on the forward check, create turnovers for them, so they can spend a little bit of offensive zone time. So, and we'll see how it looks, and hopefully it's something we like.
First time that this group is seeing St. Louis this year. What type of challenges or also opportunities does that present when it is kind of deep in the season now?
Like a lot of teams, even though you might see somebody game, first couple weeks of the season, then you don't see them until midway. So much has changed, so it might be a new team, but ultimately we're always revisiting teams, and So here's St. Louis, a team that we haven't played yet, and a team that's probably going to come out a lot better than they did the previous game. I think it was a little bit flat, but they have been playing much better than that, and it's going to be. We'll be prepared for a much stronger game.
Tonight's game marks Ryan Nugent-Hopkins tying Mark Messier for third most in Oilers history wearing an Oilers uniform. When you think about Nuge and how he shows up every single day, the type of player that he is and leader, what can you say about him?
Well, first of all, it's surprising because I remember him in junior, and I can't believe that he's already among the most games played Oilers greats that he's up that high, because it doesn't seem that long ago since I saw him as a 17-year-old playing for the Rebels. But what Nugent Hopkins does for this team is incredible. He's very calm, composed. His puck play is incredible. Obviously, he's a big part of the power play. You think of the power play and Bouchard and Hyman scoring the goals, and McDavid and Draisaitl putting up the points and making the plays, but a lot of it runs through Ryan. So, and now, we talked about the power play. Now the penalty kill. We've done so well in the penalty kill the last few months, and him and Derek Ryan are the first two out there, and then on top of that, he's our first line left winger most nights, and his game is well balanced and brings a lot to our team.
This group was really honest about things that they wanted to be able to clean up from Tuesday night's game. What are you looking forward to seeing them being able to kind of, how they piece that together?
Yeah, we'll address some of those things that we saw that we didn't execute very well. We gave up too many odd man rushes, and I think if you're, in a coach's mind, if you're giving up one, that's too many, and especially in the second period. And there's a lot of things that we can clean up. Our forwards coming back and being in their positions a little bit better, and defensemen recognizing that they don't have the support, that they can't pinch, and hopefully that gets a lot better, because if we play like that, we're not going to have much success for any period of time.
All right, that was Oilers head coach Chris Knobloch praising Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And the Nuge, if you're wondering how many games he's played, 850 regular season games as a member of the Edmonton Oilers, 679 points, 247 goals, and 432 assists. And he's tacked on 300 penalty minutes as well. All right, we're going to go back inside the Oilers locker room down in St. Louis. Wanik, who are we going to hear from next?
Let's hear from Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
St. Louis, the first time that you're going to face up against the Blues. What kind of challenges does that present?
Obviously both teams have got their feet under them, and usually you don't wait this long to play a team, especially in your own conference, but we're going to see that a couple times this next week here, so got to prepare. We worry about ourselves first and then kind of go from there, but obviously they're a quick team. They're playing well, and we just want to focus on our game and make sure that we have a good start.
Now, this group was really honest after Tuesday's game of you like some things, but there's a lot of things that you wanted to clean up. What is it that you want to be able to build upon coming into tonight's game?
Well, I definitely think the odd man rushes in the second period were something that we haven't been giving up a whole lot lately, and it's not part of our game anymore, and that kind of went away on us, so we wanted to clean that up. We did a better job in the third period, but obviously we're going to focus on that tonight. I think it's everybody involved. It's not on just the D-men, just the forwards. It's everybody being involved on the same page. So I think that's a focus, but also just getting the puck in, getting our forecheck going, playing with speed out of that.
Tonight, you tie Mark Messier for third most games in an Oilers uniform. This logo that you wear day in and day out, and just the franchise in general, what does it mean to you, and especially when you hear kind of, a little record like that?
Yeah, it's somebody told me that when I walked in today, and definitely honored to be a part of this organization for this long. It's crazy to me to think that I'm hitting third all time, so I'm just it means a ton to me to be a part of this group, and obviously I've been very fortunate to be able to stick around and play my whole career here, so excited, and hopefully a big win tonight.
Now, in morning skate, it looked like Dylan Holloway's been elevated to the top six. When you think about the goal that he scored the other night, it just had effort written all over it. What can you say about the way that he's playing and stepping up each day?
Yeah, I thought last game, even early in the game, I thought he was just working. creating chances and not turning the puck over. And obviously that was a big one to kind of get us going. And after not such a good second period, for him to be able to put one in right at the start of the third kind of gave us a lot of life. So it was a big one for us, and I know he's going to keep working, and excited to see him up there tonight.
He really looks like a different player out there. Do you kind of remember that moment in your career where you kind of took that next step and kind of launched yourself into more being more of an AHL regular?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's ever like a click. It's kind of just progressive, and you work on it every day, and you try to build your game. And obviously, you come from junior or college, and you play a certain way, and you got to adjust a little bit. Obviously, use your skills and your talents and your ability to your advantage when you come into this league. But you definitely have to be able to adjust on the fly, and I think he's doing a great job of that right now, and really finding his game and finding what's going to be able to make him a great player in this league.
Okay, there was Ryan Nugent-Hopkins playing in career game number 851. That does tie him, when he does play tonight, with Mark Messier, third all-time on the Oilers career leader list, chasing Ryan Smith at 971, and then Kevin Lowe, the all-time games played leader as a member of the Edmonton Oilers regular season. 1,037 is what K-Lowe has, and Nugent-Hopkins well on his way and likely will become the all-time games played leader in Oilers history, not too far down the road. All right, text us 780-218-9999 or get at us in the nasty chat if you're making your way home from work. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. If you're listening on the audio stream or the TuneIn app, that is where you can get at us at the inbox 780-218-9999, and then the nasties watching on YouTube. Good stuff as always from them. Keep that nasty chat going. And I saw some texts about Lou and my delayed response. We were working through those, and we got through the kinks. First time on location at Hudsons Whyte Avenue. We're going to be on Hudsons Bourbon Street, that location, next week. And then we also return to Whyte Avenue. We've got 3 more on locations with Hudsons. We're going to bounce back and forth between this Whyte Ave location and the Bourbon Street location throughout the rest of the month and throughout the rest of the season. Lots of GCs to give you. We do have a watch party coming up as well, and it's going to be a good one. I haven't been to Whyte Ave a ton in the last couple of years, but we're going to be here quite a bit and bringing the show and all the action to you. So come on down. I see Richard says he's here on location. I'm looking for you, pal. Come see me. I've got some stuff for you. Got a gift card. I've got some lanyards. I've got some stickers as well. And we're going to have some fun, enjoy the night, and see if the Oilers can get another win as they take on the St. Louis Blues tonight. I have a text to get to from Big Uke, who says first 10 is going to be really big for this team. Would love to see them play their entire game like they play a third period 5-2 Oilers. Big Uke is saying is his prediction. And you heard Joaquin Gage talking about it a little bit on Two Guys and a Goalie. He notices, or he thinks, his read on the Oilers, when they have a sharp first 10 minutes and they're snapping the puck, making good outlet passes, minimizing hope plays, is when he thinks that they're going to have themselves a good game. And when they're scrambly and they're discombobulated and the pucks are wobbling off the ends of the stick in the first 10 is when he starts to get a little bit concerned. A guy that we're going to bounce that same concept off of right now is the one and only Matt Kassian, who I think is ready to rock and roll. Yeah, there he is inside the home studio. Cass, people asking if you're on location. Yeah, you are at home in the home studio.
Yeah, home location. But yeah. I checked and made sure we kind of matched. So
we yes, we do. I had to put on the flannel today, and it's very comfortable. And by the window, although it's nice and warm over here. It's sunny. The sun's going down. And we got good vibes. You're going to be on location one of these days. I know it in my heart.
I'll show up. You never know when I'll show up, but I'll show up. Yeah, no, I'll be there. It's a great spot. Yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm excited when we get to sit down and hang out there and see a couple of the nasties out in the wild. It's a good thing. It's a fun thing. It's a great thing.
The nasties, Tommy. I love it. The nasties in the wild. I've got these bad boys. These $10 GCs.
Ooh.
With our logos on there. Very, very nice. This is a fresh stack. So come see me. I'm distributing these GCs to Hudsons, and come have a beer, maybe a bite, and watch the Oilers take on the Blues. All right, Cass, it's an Oilers and Blues matchup, first of 3 this season. They're going to tangle again later on this month here in Edmonton, and then wrap up the season series in St. Louis on April 1st. But when you look at this Blues team and you hear what Joaquin has to say about the Oilers, like, should the Oilers, I already know the answer to this, but be more concerned about their game, taking care of their business the first 10 minutes, or are they going to be paying attention to what St. Louis is doing?
Well, I'm hoping they're just worrying about themselves. I think, St. Louis is going to be trying to, they're like, in some ways, they're like an LA Light with their style of play. Like, not a super powered offense. They play quite defensive hockey. They have the ability to frustrate you. And for the Edmonton Oilers, I think if you dwell on that and dwell on, oh, this could be a frustrating game to play, it might not come out with the energy that we'd like to see, and an energy that the last 2 or 3 games has been, just kind of okay. So, Gager was, I don't want to say he was all doom and gloom today on the podcast, but he was a little doom and gloom. He thinks the Oilers lose tonight, and I differ to it, but I think a big part of this one is that start and is that energy coming out of the gate like they're prepared to play, where they haven't done that the last 2 or 3 games.
780-218-9999 if you want to get at us in the inbox and the nasty chat doing its thing. It is time now to get to Game Changers with the one and only Matt Kassian. Game Changers brought to you as always by Damon Bunting, consistent top producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among RE/MAX realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Community driven. He understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. All right, Cass, number 1 on Game Changers, the Damon Bunting RE/MAX Elite Game Changers, is a Holloway to go.
A Holloway to go, holla back, whatever you want. Holla something. Just holla something, Tommy. Lots have been talked about with this already. But it's a big change to have Dylan Holloway slide into that second line and get a little bit of a nod there. Something maybe some Oilers fans have been waiting for a number of years, a developed prospect that has slowly found his way in the league. And, Tommy, prior to his injury, we had seen some really good things in his game where he was playing the best hockey we had seen him play. He gets hurt, didn't know what we were going to see when he comes back. And he's been pretty consistent since then. Scores the huge goal with a tremendous effort at the start of the third to get things sparked, and thus gets the opportunity. Now I'm interested to see it. I'm going to say go with one, could go 1 and 2. Well, could go more than that, but 2 main ways that this could go with Dylan Holloway. Yeah. Number 1, I'll go if it doesn't go well, route would be that he tries to adapt his game to Leon Draisaitl's. If he all of a sudden on that second line tries to be, too cute, tries to be too skilled, gets away from what has made him successful before, I don't think he has success there. Now, if he keeps doing the things he has been doing, which is go hard to the front of the net, play with your speed, play a little bit physical, try to dig pucks out, be not Corey Perry level of pest, but be a little pesky, having a little bit of an edge to his game. If he does that, which is what got him this opportunity in the first place, I think he'll be fine. And he brings some speed to that line. Again, brings maybe a little bit of touch around the net. And if he can bring that effort like he did, like we saw on that goal at the start of the third against the Detroit Red Wings, well, it could be some success. So a little bit of a different look for the Oilers and for a fan base that at times has been clamoring for another top 6 forward. Well, here's one that you have in your own lineup that's going to get an opportunity to, I don't want to say cut his teeth, but to see what he's made of and to see if his game currently is a fit in that top 6.
Well, I was going to just say, how much longevity does this situation have? Like, we've seen Holloway get elevated. We've seen him start in the top 6 at times, and it doesn't really last that long. So do you think this one actually has a real chance at sticking, or do you think we're talking about this being a moonlighting situation?
Well, I think the difference between this, and if I look back to like when he had that tremendous preseason and we were all super excited and it was like, oh, this guy's going to blow the wheels off. Like, he's going to be fantastic. He's going to be so good. And then he just turned pucks over, really. I mean, that's what it was he was throwing pucks away. First game, huge turnover from the wall in the own zone. And like, it just, he continued to make mistakes. And he's not doing that right now.
Yeah.
He has settled into how he needs to play. at least at a third or fourth line level, to have success. Now, again, I think you just want more of that if you're asking him to do it on the second line, which is where it's like with a young player, it doesn't make me nervous. Nervous isn't the right word, but it's intriguing to see, does he just keep that same play style going? And even in third period against Detroit, he did. Will he just have the mindset of continuing to do that? Because it's really easy with skilled players to try to be like, oh, I'm going to do this too. This is how we need to play. When it's like, well, no, to compliment Leon Draisaitl, I think you need to do what you do well. That's the reason you got the opportunity. Now, is he going to moonlight there, or is it a permanent thing? Well, it depends how it goes. Really, it depends how it goes, and depends on a couple other things that are probably out of Dylan Holloway's control from a trade standpoint, from what the organization wants to do standpoint. But I mean, really, if he wants to stay there, he's going to have to earn it. He's going to have some success. And if he does, Tommy, I don't know what happens. Like, what do you think happens with Dylan Holloway? Let's say he has a great game tonight, maybe a point, maybe 2 points, and he strings together 3 or 4 good games in that position. As we inch closer and closer to the trade deadline, what do you think that does to the Oilers organization?
Well, it'll make them second guess or ask if they can rely on this. And I feel like the answer would be no. A guy that right now going into action tonight has 3 goals and an assist in 22 games and has been banged up quite a bit in his young career. To me, they'd be like, well, maybe we have something starting to sizzle here, but it wouldn't. Personally, if I was in their shoes, even though he was playing good for the next 3 or 4 games in the top 6, I don't think it would veer my intention heading into the trade deadline. Do you think that's fair?
I think so. And I probably land my ship there too, where it's like it would be great. And it helps you to look past, like, to next year, to future years, to say, okay, well, this could be a solution next season.
Sure.
If he continues to do this, but are we going to, hang our hat on having this young player in the top 6 heading into the playoffs? Well, if you're planning on looking at adding a top 6 winger, you still may look to do that, but it does depend on cost. Again, it depends on what other teams do, what the offers are, who's available. There's a lot that goes into that, but I think ideally, Tommy, they probably are feeling the same thing.
Yeah, totally understandable. I mean, we're getting into crunch time here. It's not like the Oilers are in a cushy spot, and to put your faith into a guy in his early 20s that Cassie really hasn't done much at the NHL level. He's shown some little flashes, especially if you're trying to make a Stanley Cup run. I think that the Oilers are probably thinking along the same lines you and I are. But if we see him playing well, his confidence is picking up, that's a great sign. Nothing wrong with that at all. Hey, Cass?
Nope, not at all. Like I said, from a future standpoint, or if you had someone get hurt standpoint and you need someone to slide in there, building some confidence and giving some opportunity there is a good thing, even if you do end up bringing someone else in at the end of the day.
It is Gamechangers with our game analyst, Matt Kassian, brought to you by Damon Bunting Re Max Elite. Number 1 was a Holloway to go. Number 2, Cass, Valentine's is over. No more gifts.
No more gifts. That second period was they just really wanted Detroit to feel comfortable. And
did they do a great job of that?
Just here you go. Here you go. Just have another one. Oh, you want some more? Have another one.
Yeah.
You want another odd man rush? Be my guest. Let's go for it.
Another Hershey's kiss.
Another Hershey's kiss. There you go. Yeah. Just giving them away. I mean, it was really like, I have a couple kids in school, my daughters, and it's like when they do Valentine's, you can't just give one person a Valentine anymore, because they don't, and understandably so, you don't want anyone to feel excluded, and the kids shouldn't feel excluded on Valentine's Day. So it's like, if you're doing a Valentine, you got to give every kid a Valentine. And it kind of felt like that with the Oilers and the Red Wings in the second period, where it was just like, a day early for Valentine's Day, but you get a chocolate, you get a chocolate, you get a chocolate. Everybody's getting chocolates. I mean, full Oprah Winfrey on the turnovers and the opportunities for the Detroit Red Wings. And yeah, you don't want to do that tonight, especially against a team. Detroit can create offense on their own. They got some skilled players up front. They can generate some of that. St. Louis is a team that gets what you give them. They're going to try to play tight defensively. They're going to try to check you hard. They're going to try to opportunize on turnovers. But this isn't an extremely skilled group. Now, they grind, but it's not a skilled group. And so if you just go about giving them everything and just turning the puck over continually and giving like 2-on-1s from your own hash marks in, which we saw last game, that's an absolute recipe for disaster. Now, Stuart Skinner bailed them out a number of times in that game against Detroit. If you do that again, obviously, if you have some goaltending, maybe it saves you one or two, but just a crucial part of that last game when they weren't playing well, that they need to make sure they just don't go back to that tonight.
Cass, you bring up Skinner, and he did make some great saves. He's made some great saves over the last couple of weeks. Obviously, his numbers are starting to reflect that. His overall play has gotten much better than certainly what we saw in the early part of this season. And then on top of that, he's getting better coverage in front of him. Although in that second period, that is not the case. And, Gager, while he was waiting to go on for two guys and a goalie today, we're having a conversation, and he goes, I'm starting to get concerned about Skinner. I'm like, why? He's playing great. He goes, it's not his play. It's that they keep needing to rely on him because of those brain farts and those mistakes in their own zone and the turnovers below the hash marks, Cass, where they're creating odd man rushes against. Do you see where Gager's coming at with that, or are you share that concern that Gager is?
It doesn't make me concerned for Skinner. Does it make me concerned for the team if they keep that habit going? Like if this keeps going, well, yeah, it concerns me for sure for the team. Not so much for Skinner. I mean, maybe from an energy standpoint, if he gets beat up in that, it's gonna affect his confidence. And because the backdoor tap ends, again, pretty hard to save. Cross crease passes, really hard to save. And the more of those that they give up, the more difficult mentally it is for him. Maybe physically it is for him. Then I'd say that. I don't know if I don't know. I don't know. I mean, goalies are weird, so I guess Gager has a different view on that. But I view it as being more of a team issue, and me concerned for the team more than Stuart Skinner.
I love it. Gold medal Mark with a text that I cannot read on the air, but Maddie's on it. Gold medal Mark. Maddie's always on it. But that's a funny joke, and especially coming off the heels of Valentine's Day. Did you see that text? I can't read that one. From Gold Medal Mark.
I can't see it. No,
you can save that one for later. It'll make you giggle. It is Gamechangers with Matt Kassian, brought to you as always by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. We're live on location at Hudsons, Whyte Ave. Cass, there's a bunch of people starting to show up. Oh, we got the sirens going there. I had a gentleman right behind me, waving before I went on air. I was like, oh, it's going to be one of those, huh? It's going to be one of those, but we are smooth sailing
as long
now.
As Tommy, you got the on-air sign up.
I left that at my place in the satellite studios.
We may need to pick up another one of those because if I recall correctly, the more we do on location, you get the well-intentioned stragglers that want to come up and say hi and talk, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
But sometimes they can't tell if you're on air or not. So
no, that's a good point. Now, I do have the light here, and I am facing a camera, which is different than what we had before.
That's true.
And most people were coming up asking where the bathroom was when we were on location last season. So a little bit different, but I've seen some thumbs up, and a few people have popped in. And if you are coming in, I've got some GCs to give away here at Hudson's. Whyte Ave will be on the Bourbon Street side of things next week, and we'll announce that. We got some fun announcements to make on our station. I know Dusty teased the signing. I'll let the boys handle that, but lots happening with EST, and we're happy to be back on location. And the BP's shows have been really good too. We had a great one at the Westgate BP on Saturday. So nice partnership with Hudson's. Has a small special place in my heart, Cass, because I used to go to the downtown one all the time because it was right outside my front door. And
I mean, we all know the life you live, Tommy, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, pure glamour, man. Pure glamour. Okay, number one on Gamechangers was Holloway. A Holloway to go. Number two, Valentine's is over. No more gifts. Number three, Cass, PK rebounding, and they need to do it quick.
They need to do it quick, and surprisingly, for their lack of skill, the St. Louis Blues power play is clipping on at a really, really good rate. Has been actually pretty lethal this season, which, again, if we're looking at rosters, I'd look at the St. Louis Blues and I wouldn't be like, hey, they have a fantastic power play, but they do. And for a penalty kill that's sputtering, you need to get your feet underneath you. I mean, that first kill, Tom, I think tonight, if there's a first kill, is going to be absolutely crucial. Like that first penalty kill is going to be crucial. If they get scored on again, I think the sticks get squeezed a little bit. The doubt may start to creep in. Now you had a big kill at the end of the game against Detroit or later in the game where you finally got the kill done. It was at an opportune time to get a kill, helps you win the game, doesn't let Detroit back in it. And carrying into today, if you get scored on that first one, especially if it's early in the kill, or even if it's late in the actually anytime, if they get scored on any time on their first penalty kill, I mean, I really worry about the overall confidence, because they had such a good streak. Now they're struggling, and they struggled early in the season. You gotta pinch it off. Like you have to stop the bleeding, and it's just been leaky again. And I worry about the confidence for the group as a whole and their ability to get back on track if they keep leaking goals here. So it's a huge night for the Edmonton Oilers PK group. That first kill in particular, again, I think just so important. Like if you can win your draws, get the puck down when you need to, make it a little bit difficult on zone entry. Just get through that kill. I think, hopefully you'll set yourself up with some momentum carrying over the rest of the game, but it's been so challenging for them the last few on the penalty kill, Tom. It's just, I can't have Game Changers and not talk about it, because I think it's too big a deal.
Well, for reference, and what you're alluding to is the game in Anaheim, they went 0 for 2 on the PK, okay? And then the game in LA, they follow it up. They go for 1 for 2. And then the other night against Detroit, obviously an exciting win, a good third period and all that, but the PK was 1 for 3, Cass. We're talking about giving up 5 goals on the man advantage in the last 3 games, and that is never a recipe for success. And so we didn't see Matthias Janmark play the other night. No, he has no offensive punch this season. 6 of his points, or he's got 5 of his points of the 6 that he has put up this season, came in like a 3-game span. He goes back into the lineup tonight. Sam Gagner comes out. How much does that help the PK? And I mean, my belief is fleeting, because he was in those games where they went 1 for 2 and 0 for 2, but maybe a shot at watching the game from the press box could help a guy, if that makes any sense.
I mean, it might help a little bit. Yeah, I mean, should Brown be out of the lineup?
Yeah, I think he should be.
I think has down the stretch of the streak, Janmark was really good on the penalty kill. So could it help? Yeah, absolutely. He's a guy that can kill penalties, has shown he can do it well. He, along with everyone else, has struggled the last little bit. So does it help your PK? Well, maybe a little bit. You take the pressure off having someone that's maybe a little less used to doing it out there. You might take a little bit of pressure off Derek Ryan at times by having him out there. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Gagner's produced more 5-on-5 than Janmark and Brown combined, pretty much.
Yeah,
so,
he has.
Does it help the PK? Maybe. Does it help them 5-on-5? Maybe not.
780-218-9999. It is the Oil Stream pregame show live on location at Hudsons, Whyte Avenue. Matt Kassian at his satellite studios. Let's see what's going on here. Did you steal the meat? Did you hear about the meat debacle? I did not steal the meat. That was on the morning
I didn't
show.
Hear about it.
No, I
didn't. About
didn't.
it, but
I do know who took it. I will not say who took it. It was not me. I see that we're discussing that in the nasty chat right now. We will leave that there. And Jason pointed out what happened with the meat. Fermented Moose Nux says Blues have lots of skill. Who is this guy? I think that was in regard to
me saying they don't have any skill. No,
I was going to say, yeah.
I just commented back and said in all caps, because I like typing in all caps in these things.
Yeah.
If they are so skilled, why they no score lots of goals? Like, I mean, they have
answer.
Like Torrey Krug's a skilled defenseman.
He is.
Jake Neighbors, good young player. You have some good. I'm not saying they don't have good players. I never said they don't have good players. They're not a high skill team. They're not a team that's going to win in a run and gun type of game. They are not that. The point leader right now, Robert Thomas at 52 points. Yeah, you got some good players.
Yes,
you got some good players, but they're not. No, they're not. They're not a high skilled team.
780-218.
But you are mistaken. You are absolutely mistaken.
I love when you get in there and mix it up with the nasty chat, Cass.
Well, I love yelling at them. It's the best.
Well, yeah, all caps there. Why is Cass yelling? Love it. Love it. All right. One final thought from you as it is a shorter version of the pregame show. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, he's going to tie Mark Messier for third all-time in games played as a member of the Edmonton Oilers. He's well on his way to catching Ryan Smith, certainly, and then eventually Kevin Lowe. Kevin Lowe, the franchise leader in games played in the regular season, 1,037. Smitty is at 971. What would you describe Ryan Nugent-Hopkins as to this point in his career, and how do you think he's going to be remembered as an Oiler or an NHLer when all said and done?
He's going to be in this city. He's going to be a legend. He will, and rightfully so. The guy that has played that long, stuck it out, and that's one of the things that he's going to be remembered for: is sticking it out through the good times, sticking it out through the bad times.
Yep.
Someone that does quite regularly give back in the city from a charitable status and from a visibility status. He's involved in the community. So I mean, it's just like he's one of the good guys.
Yeah,
he's one of the guys you that's a good guy. You want him to have success in the media. You want him to have success as a fan. You want him to have success as a teammate. So, will he hit the cult status of like a Ryan Smith? I don't know. I don't know if he will. Probably maybe not. Just from the the let's say some of the extracurriculars from like winning globally in different things. But will he be remembered incredibly fondly? Will he be able to find a job in the city very easily after he's done?
Will he need a job?
Probably not.
No,
but if he wanted to, he will be looked on incredibly fondly. I mean, he's as I said, battled it out for a long time through the good and the bad, and is well loved and liked by his teammates.
I know what would elevate him past Ryan Smith, Cass.
Yeah, getting one of those would probably help.
Yeah.
Let's say he scored an OT winner to seal it. Then you might.
Well, we're saving that for Connor Brown, of course.
Right, he's first of the year. By the way.
Yes. Do you want to touch on Connor Brown really quickly? Like it's just not happening for the poor guy. We talked a little bit about it on the post-game show, but people are probably going, what the heck? Why is Gagne out? Why is Brown still in there? And I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of leaning that way too. Before I was there. Like PK, sure, but
the PK is the only reason, Tommy. That's the only reason. And it's been struggling. So it's like, okay, well, or are you just hoping that he gets a goal and one bounces in off a shin pad and then that snaps him out of it? I mean, I guess the other thing you're looking at is money, right? Like you have quite a bit of money tied up in him, so you're keeping him in because you're hoping he turns it around because you're having to pay him.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I mean, there's not a ton, and I hope he scores. I hope he gets one and it flips a switch, and all of a sudden they start coming, and he's able to really achieve and be what we were hoping he was going to be, which is a guy that could play in your top six.
Sure.
Heading into the season, we didn't think they were going to need someone in their top six because we thought Connor Brown was going to be that guy, and he hasn't been able to get there. Now he's doing other things like the penalty kill. He's a pretty solid forechecker, so there's things he does well, but just can't find the back of the net. And you do get to a point, I think, when you look at it and go like, man, this guy's got to start to produce somehow. He's playing enough minutes. He needs to produce. If the penalty kill continues to struggle, Tommy, I don't know how you don't look at it and say, well, maybe he does need to watch one from the stand.
Well, I mean, if you're going to sit Matthias Janmark and you're looking at Connor Brown going, what have you done for me lately? It's pretty fair that he gets a look in the press box again. He did have one a few weeks ago, but there was an injury, and then he got back into action and cast 4 assists in 42 games, a -8 with 4 penalty minutes. Ineffective,
much like a Barb from our friend Fermented Moose Knuckle, who said 4 guys on the Blues close to 20 goals, saying they have no skill. What did you have? LOL. I'm assuming that means he's laughing out loud. They're 25th in the league. 25th in the league, goals for. Give me a break. They're not a high-skilled team. Do they have a couple skilled players? Sure.
Yes.
Everyone has a couple skilled players.
Yes.
Are they a bad team? No, didn't say they're a bad team. Didn't say they don't have good players that contribute. They're not a high-skilled team. They are not. They are not. This is not the Colorado Avalanche. This is not the Edmonton Oilers. This is not the Vancouver Canucks. They do not have that absolute elite high skill level talent. They don't have it. They have players that work hard, yes.
Yep.
Have some skill, yes. Contribute, yes. Score, yes. Score by committee, sure. They're a team that plays up and down their lineup. They do some things very, very well, but they are not a high skilled team. Just give your head a shake.
I think people just want to argue and get into debate. That's part of it too sometimes, Cass, and part of the fun of what we get to do. Fantastic stuff, my friend, and enjoy the game. We'll catch up with you on the post-game show.
Absolutely, Tommy. Sounds good.
That is our game analyst, Matt Kassian, helping us break down and get set up the Oilers' PK situations. That's what he was breaking down, and then setting up tonight's action against the Blues. We'll see how the Oilers handle things against the St. Louis club coming off a loss to Toronto. The Oilers, of course, 8-4 winners over the Detroit Red Wings on Tuesday night. 780-218-9999. You can text us, or you can get at us in the nasty chat, or you can just argue with Cass in the nasty chat. Whatever you feel like doing. Richard, you said you saw me looking. I'm here, man. I'm here. There's like a stack of GCs that I have to give away, and come by and see me. I've also got some lanyards, and I've got some EST stickers. So I've got the goods as we roll along. I'll be here all night, by the way. So if you're looking for a spot to watch the game, come grab a $10 GC to Hudsons, Whyte Avenue. And I think it'll be good for Hudson's Bourbon Street as well. Actually, I'm 100% sure it'll be good for Hudson's Bourbon Street, where we will be next week. Matty Awanek, do we have any more audio and video to get to by any chance?
Yeah, we still have to hear from Dylan Holloway if you'd like to get to that.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's go inside the Oilers locker room from St. Louis and hear from Dylan Holloway getting a bump up to the second line with Kane and Draisaitl.
Elevated to the top six alongside Leon and Evander. With that opportunity, what most excites you about it?
Yeah, obviously just playing with two great players. I don't know. I think it's a great opportunity for myself, and I'm really excited to see how things go.
Is there a different mentality that you kind of have to come in with tonight, knowing that that's where you are and that's what your role is?
Yeah, a little bit. I think big thing though, I just got to stick to my game. Definitely read off those guys. Kind of, let them talk to me and let them tell me what's what in the top six. But I think the big thing for me is just play my game, try and play as simple as I can and get them the puck.
There was so much hustle in the goal that you scored on Tuesday night, the way that you dove for that, and then of course, Connor McDavid's right there. What was the overall kind of energy that you had? It was a moment that you knew that was an opportunity that you had?
Yeah, well, I just got on the ice, so I had pretty fresh legs, and then obviously Davo made a great play by stripping inside of there for the puck and then gave it to Bush. And I was kind of just following up on the play, and then the puck was kind of wide open, and my eyes kind of lit up a little bit, so I wanted to get that one, and then figured the only way I could get it is if I dove, and then I almost took out Davo's knees at the end of it, but I think it was worth it. So.
Was there anything that your head coach said to you about that type of hustle and the way that you chased after that?
No, not really, but I think our third period as a whole, as a team, was great. The way we responded as a team was what you need to do to win games, and especially in a game like that, we were kind of a bit sloppy there in the second, so it was good to get that response in the third.
This will be the first time that you guys face the Blues this season. We're kind of deep in the year. Does that make it a little bit of a different challenge?
Yeah, maybe a little unfamiliar with their game, but they've been playing well. Their power play's been hot, so I think it's going to be a good challenge for us, and it's definitely something that we're excited for.
Especially since the break, it kind of looks like you've taken another step. Do you think over your career with kind of how injuries have gone, this has been kind of a long time coming for you?
Yeah, I mean, hope so. Knock on wood, hopefully don't get injured anytime soon. But yeah, the injuries are tough, but I'm just trying to come back and be the best I can be and try and help this team any way I can.
There is Dylan Holloway as he looks to maybe get a second game in a row where he scores a goal. Scored a really nice acrobatic goal. Almost killed Connor McDavid diving for the puck and banging it home the other night past Alex Lyon. And I like his attitude. I've liked it all along. It's like a never back down mentality. And as he continues to figure out the NHL game and how he can fit in and be successful, I love that he doesn't seem to get discouraged. So he's going to get a look again tonight with Leon Draisaitl and Evander Kane. Let's give you the lines if you didn't catch them earlier in the show. For the Oilers tonight, McDavid with Nugent Hopkins and Hyman. Nugent Hopkins playing career game number 851. That will tie him with Mark Messier for third all-time on the Oilers franchise list. Draisaitl, like I mentioned, between Kane and Holloway. McLeod with Fogle and Perry. Derek Ryan centering Matthias Janmark and Connor Brown. On defense for the Oilers, Narcisse, Ekholm Bouchard, Kulak with Desharnais, out Sam Gagner. As for the St. Louis Blues, Robert Thomas centering Pavel Buchnevich and Jordan Kyrou on the second line. Braden Shen between Jake Neighbors, a former Oil King, and Kasperi Kapanen. And then you've got Kevin Hayes between Brandon Saad and Alexei Toropchenko. Oscar Sundquist with Nikita Alexandrov and former Oiler Nathan Walker from Australia. On defense, Nick Leddy paired up with Colton Parayko, Torrey Krug with Matt Kessel, Marco Scandella with Kalle Rosen. Out for the Blues tonight, Justin Falk, IR lower body, Scott Perunovich, day-to-day lower body, Sammy Blais, no go. As for your starting goalies, 25-year-old Stuart Skinner getting the nod, 24, 11, and 1 on the season, 249 GAA, 909 save percentage with 2 shutouts in 37 games this season. A 1-0-1 record with a 192 GAA, 943 save percentage in the 2 games he's played against the Blues in his career. And at the other end of the rink, it will be 30-year-old Jordan Binnington, 18, 14, and 2, 290 goals against average, 909 save percentage, 2 shutouts in 37 games. And then Binnington versus the Oilers, a 4-2 mark, 287 goals against average, 892 save percentage, 1 shutout in 7 appearances versus the Oil. This is one of 11 games on the schedule around the National Hockey League. 12 games. So a busy night in the NHL. Let's get you up to speed on what's going on around the old NHL. After 1, Boston leads Seattle. Tied at 1 now. So that one's knotted up. In Beantown, it is the Panthers up 1-0 on the Sabres in Buffalo after 1. Through 1 as well, no score between the Devils and the Kings. You got the Rangers trailing the Habs 1-0 after 1 in New York. Ottawa hosting Anaheim, 1-0 the score. The Ducks lead it after 1 there. Tampa, which just unveiled its new 3rd jersey, looks nice. Kind of reminds me of the Blue Jackets 3rd jersey from years back with the round, like the circle logo, as well as the Blues old 3rd jersey. And the Lightning 2-1. They lead the Avs after 1. You've also got the Flyers up 1-0 on the Leafs in Toronto after 1. We've got the Oilers and Blues coming up in about 10 minutes. And then Nashville hosting Dallas. Chicago gets Pittsburgh at United Center. Calgary and San Jose going toe-to-toe, 7 o'clock our time at the Saddle Dome. And then the Canucks and Red Wings round out a busy night in the NHL from Rogers Arena. Let's see any texts we want to get to before we say. I know I've got a bunch of texts that I want to get to. Richard, just come say hi. I'm going to wrap up the show. You're here somewhere. It's getting darker. I can't see past this light that's in front of me. Richard says he is blowing his allowance, so let's help you out with a $10 GC, Richard. Maybe you can have another beverage, maybe some wings, whatever you like, pal. Come see me as soon as I wrap up the show. And then in the inbox, got a few to get to here before we wrap things up. This one from Donnie M says, I love it. Nice love for the nudes. Just wait for his $5 million cap hit the Oil in a few years. Remember, $40 million over 8 years, not good. Donnie M, let's think about the good times. The good times. Rip City Step says, Tommy, is it suits downtown and plaid on white? Today it is, Rip City Step. This one from C-Dub in Tulsa, Oklahoma, my fellow Okie. Evening, Tommy. Talking Connor Brown. I need to chime in. At what point does a waiver wire become the next option? Do you think the link to McDavid is the only reason he's still in the lineup? Am I undervaluing his defensive game? Puzzled on this one. Thoughts? C-Dub in Tulsa. C-Dub, I think that they don't want to have any more egg on their face by waiving him. And this is my take on it. I don't think they want to go through that after what they went through with the Jack Campbell situation. But he's really not doing anything. 4 points in, 42 games, -8. He's not making a dent anywhere. The defensive side of things doesn't justify it, in my opinion. Thank you for the question, C-Dub in Tulsa. And then finally, Tommy Rubella says, my real game day prediction, though, is that Binnington tries to fight 8 Oilers players, 2 Blues players, 1 official, 6 Oilers fans, 17 Blues fans, and the timekeeper. Tommy Rubella, well done. You get the final word tonight. That was fantastic. That's going to do it for the Oil Stream pregame show live on location at Hudsons, Whyte Avenue. If you're not doing anything, come on down. I've got a whole stack. I've got multiple stacks of these GCs to give away, $10 GCs. And then I've got some EST stickers, some EST lanyards. I'm going to be down here. Looks like glue guy Jay Milne will be stopping by as well. We're going to watch the game, have some fun, and we'll see if the Oilers can get a second straight victory. A big thank you to Luke Korak from NHL.com joining us from St. Louis, and to Matthew Iwanek stepping in a pinch and doing a great job as always. For Matt Kassian and Iwanek, I'm Tom Gazzola saying enjoy the Oilers versus the Blues. We'll see you on the postgame show.